Yeah, shout out Grind City Hoops.
901 Shelby Drive, look alive, look alive. Came up on this side, now they on the...
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Grind City Hoops. I'm your host, Donovan McLemore, and today we have a special guest on the podcast. Please introduce yourself, tell the people where you're from and where you're at now.
My name is Isaiah Jones. From Tennessee, and I go to Oakland University.
For sure. So, everybody has an origin story of how they started playing basketball. Some people started when they were young. Some people got into it later on. How did you get into the game, and around what age did you start playing?
Honestly, it didn't start early for me. Started playing baseball first, and I just started growing. So,
Yeah.
once you start growing, you got to change it up. And I started taking it serious in about seventh grade.
Okay.
And then it just rocket ship all the way up here.
So you just stopped playing baseball? What, did you enjoy baseball, or was it just like, just basketball? Just like
I love baseball. I watched it every day, try to play it every day. It was just, I feel like I could really do something with basketball. It came natural.
Oh, okay, yeah, I definitely understand. So, transitioning, obviously, you say you got competitive around like seventh grade. AAU is a big thing, especially nowadays. So, what AAU teams did you play for, and how did that impact your development as a player?
The first AAU team I ever played for was called RSD. They took me in. I was a chubby kid, so they took me in, tried to develop me, and they bettered me mentally and physically. Just you put me around a lot of people that were higher than me at that time.
Okay.
I could say in skill wise. So I played with them. Then as I transitioned from middle school to high school, I ended up playing with Team Thad.
Okay.
Out of Memphis, a great circuit team. They showed me a lot. They gave me a competitive spirit, and then I also played with WCG. So I had a lot of good teams.
Definitely, for sure. So, obviously, AAU is a big part of things, but transitioning into your high school career, how did that go for you?
Transitioning to my high school career was fairly smooth. Coming as a freshman, I didn't play that much, but I had a lot of seniors to go against at practice and made me better. And then my sophomore year, kind of not carried my team, but I was a big part of why my team went to state. So it was all so real. It came to me fast. So it was definitely a good experience.
Definitely. Where'd you go to high school?
East Nashville. And then I moved to Memphis my senior year and went to Arlington High School.
Oh, okay. You mind if I ask why'd you move? Just cause or?
COVID.
COVID.
Everybody in Nashville couldn't play until January, but when I moved to Memphis, I was able to play in November at like the regular season.
I see. Okay, so I was actually going to transition to that anyway. So, how did COVID impact you? It happened towards the end of high school. It's your senior year, correct?
Yeah.
So, how was that like? It was definitely an adjustment for everybody, but in the middle of high school for you was probably crazy.
Yeah, it really messed me up because I felt like I was becoming the player that I was supposed to be in that senior year, and then I got to play with my little brother in my junior year at East Nashville. So I really got into understanding of how I needed to play and be better, and we were going to state that year, and then it just shut everything down. So it made a lot of things bad for me. And then college, it kind of denied me of going for my dreams to go D1 straight out of high school.
Right.
So it just bettered me mentally. I had to fight through it, and I'm here.
Definitely, yeah. I actually was going to ask you about that because a lot of guys dealt with that coming out of high school, especially like seniors that was graduating in 2020, had a lot of offers, and then boom, COVID hits, and then transfer portal starts getting crazy. People are moving left and right. So how did that impact you, not just with the recruitment process, but, obviously in college now, just everybody just moving around constantly?
It impacted me a lot because it just made me seem like I wasn't worthy enough at the time,
Right.
I felt like I was the best player in my head, but to others, it was overlooked. And now being in college, I understand why, because so many players don't always have the strongest opportunity, or they get messed up here being in here because they don't get the money. They feel like they wasted their time or that year. So it's understandable for sure. But with them getting an extra year plus their grad years, it all plans out for them.
Definitely. Do you have an extra year or you don't?
No, I don't.
You don't. So
Unfortunately,
this is coming up on your senior season,
no. This is my sophomore year. I
sophomore.
went to prep school. Yeah, I went to prep school after high school.
Okay.
So I really a 2022 uh grad year, and I graduate in 26 at
Okay.
college.
Definitely, for sure. So obviously through all the, headache with COVID, COVID was just a nightmare just for everybody just involved. How did you stay motivated even though you had so many roadblocks, especially just losing offers and not being able to go D1 straight out of high school like you said before?
Just to love, I love basketball a lot.
Hmm.
I got to meet quite a few of people. I have friends that are pros now, and I have a lot of pro mentors, I would say. So it was just the thought of just keep pushing. And then after my senior year, I was just trying to figure out what all I was gonna do, and I got a call from uh, a very great player named Mo Spates, who played for the Florida Gators, and then he played for the Warriors when they won their first ring or their second year ring. But he just talked to me and he took me under his wing. He made me feel like a little brother to him, showed me a lot of ways of how to better my game and the mental aspect of how you gotta just keep consistency in your game, and that's brought me a long way. So just talking to people to stay on the same track and talking to my parents, even my parents, biggest help because regardless of what I was doing, they always made sure I was able to get somewhere.
Definitely. So, obviously the physical part of the game is huge, training, working out, getting better in the gym and just staying consistent like you just said. But how big is the mental side of the game as well? Because not a lot of people talk about it, but how big is the mental side of it?
So I look at it like the mental side is like 80%, physical side is like 20%.
Mm-hmm.
Because like mentally, you have to be able to work, go to school as an athlete, um, get through some of the stuff you don't want to do.
Right.
You got to wake up and do some of the stuff you don't want to do. And you always have that thought or that voice in the back of your head of, is this the right thing, or am I doing this right so I can get better than somebody else? Because everybody wants to be better than the next person for sure. Because there's always gonna be a thought like that, even though you shouldn't think like that. There's always that thought.
Right. It's
Um, yeah, always. And just the thought of like where I'm gonna be in the next 5 years.
mm-hmm.
That's always a strong thought. So
Definitely. Definitely. So, you as a player, obviously, you just spoke on it. It's always competitive. You want to be better than the next guy. What makes you different and separates you from other players?
honestly, I feel like I'm very passionate.
Mm-hmm.
Last few of my coaches probably thought I was a crybaby, but I mean, I understand why. It's just the way I go about things. It's the tone of voice I use, so it's understandable. But I'm just passionate. I don't like to if I slack, then I understand if somebody else slacking. But I like to push myself, and I don't like to see other people that I know can be good not pushing themselves either. So
Mm-hmm.
I just have the nature of just wanting to win and just go the fullest. Even if you can't do it or if I can't do it, I still want to try at least.
Yeah, absolutely. For sure. So coming up on the season, we're about maybe a month or so away from the season starting to crank up. What are some of your goals going into this season?
Actually, I have lists on my
Yeah, got to take note. Got to write it.
Nah, this is on my screensaver.
Yes, sir.
And it's just I'll go down the list. It says continue to build the best relationship with God this year.
Mm-hmm.
That's my number one. And just staying consistent. Continue to love the game. I feel like continue to love in the game is the biggest thing because you can get so lost in college. Not everybody gets to do what they want. You have to play a role. It's a system. So the best thing you can do is keep working on your craft and keep working on what your team needs you to do and keep loving the game. And that's what's going to help me get through this season. And my other goal is to just get my name out there for the draft. So I want to leave and be able to go pro after my junior year. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
You touched on it a little bit. You said how college is definitely different than high school because a lot of high schools, I mean, like if you're the guy, you're just a guy. You shoot 100 shots. It don't really matter. But when you get to college, it's all the best players from high school on one team. So how did you have to kind of adjust your game when you went to college because you kind of had to fit a role versus in high school, you was a guy.
See, in high school, I was always I was more of a number two guy.
Okay.
Like except for my junior year when we were going to state, it was me and my brother, so you really couldn't like tell he had his game or I had my game. But all the other years or the years I've been playing basketball, I've always been that number two guy, and I always respected it. Like I feel like I told coaches before I was like I'm not really right now in my game. I'm aiming to get to the NBA to be one of the best role players. Like as you can see, like Mikal Bridges, he
Yeah.
was like one of the most efficient role players in the league at the time, and now he's super. He's going to be a superstar soon, probably, or all star, one of them. But yeah, that's what I aim for. Is like when I transitioned, I was telling myself I just need to be able to knock down shots, play defense, and rebound. Just do all my strong suits, and they really helped me do that transition. My parents they've helped me transition. They understand what I want with this. So yeah, that's definitely.
Absolutely. So as we wrap this up, I always ask this question at the end of every interview to anyone we're interviewing. Obviously, you spoke on your future goals already, but within the next 3 to 4 years, where do you see yourself at?
Next 3 4 years, I see myself playing pro in the NBA. I've always been asked where I want to play at, and I always say Cali, Texas, or somewhere down south.
Right.
So just getting the feel for the league, I feel like I'll be um, a, a, a great role player within the coming years. But at that time, I'm going to be trying to learn from the vets and just picking up on games so I can be the best and have the longevity of playing more than just 4 or 5 seasons. And that's no knock to anybody that has, but I just want to be able to provide for my family for the longest I can. Of
Absolutely. That's fantastic, bro. I appreciate you coming on, man, showing us love on the podcast.
course.